welcome Andrew and take it away.
Thanks a lot, Susan and Syria, for the kind introduction. And welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm always blown away by the number of teachers who choose to give up an hour and a half of their own night to do their own professional learning on their own time. So thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. I'm very excited to talk to you about OTF Planboard tonight. It's a tool I've been using for about 4 years now, and it's really changed the way I look at my lesson planning. I feel it's made my lessons a lot better. It's been great for my students and for parents as well. So I'm really excited to share with each of you. And so we look at online lesson planning here. A few quick things about the actual session, the way I run things. The way I've got it set up is I've broken this into about 6 different sections to take you through OTF Planboard. Generally, I've got a bunch of screenshots in here that are annotated, and I'm going to kind of walk you through what Planboard does and how you can use it. Then there's a space where we'll have you leave and watch a video so you can actually watch it in action. I made a screencast video so you can kind of see in action, see exactly how things work. And then we've got some built-in time for you to actually try it out yourself here, play around for a little bit, and then come back and ask me questions. Please feel free to pop any questions you have in the chat at any time, but at the same time, I would say there's about 6 different sections throughout the session tonight that you have a chance to ask questions, so if we could hold off just to make sure I'm not getting a bunch that I'm going to cover 2 or 3 minutes later in the presentation anyways. All right, so about myself, for those who are wondering, I'm a high school teacher down in Kitchener. I love using technology in different ways, and like I said, I came across Planboard about 4 years ago now, and it's been a really great addition to my classroom. It's really kind of changed the way I organize myself, and it's been a huge time saver for me as well. The other thing I'll say is I'm here to help you guys tonight, but I'm also happy to connect with teachers anytime. I love geeking out about the classroom and education. So if you want to reach out to me, you're welcome to reach me on Twitter. You can see my Twitter handle there, or through Google Plus, or email me anytime. So to start off here, I love sharing this quote. I'm a big John Dewey fan, and I love that it's from 1944, but I think it's very prescient today too. And in the saying, if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. And while my session nights focus more on a tool and the way to use it and organize yourself with your lesson planning, one thing I love about the tool and Planboard is that I think it allows you to do things with your lessons that you've never done before, and organize life your way and share things with students and parents and other teachers in a way that really wasn't possible before, in a very simple, simplistic, and easy way. So one thing I hope that comes up tonight is just not a different way to organize yourself and build your lessons, but also it might open up some doors and open your eyes to some different ways you can look at your lessons too. And one thing that I kind of laugh at this e-card all the time here, but I think it's a really prescient at this time of day too. Technology is becoming more and more common in our classrooms, and teachers are using technology more and more. And I think we're using so much more in the digital space now with our students. That's becoming more and more common, and we need a great way to organize ourselves with that. If you use a paper day planner, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think a paper day planner doesn't really work well with the digital tools we're using in our classroom, the digital tools that are common just kind of all across the board now. And I just saw a quick posting from Geraldine there at sound. Out of curiosity, let's test out the check mark really quick. If you give me a green check mark, if you can hear me okay right now. Just want to make sure everyone's good before I go ahead. So if you can hear me okay, green check mark. Okay, it looks like it's good for most people there. So Geraldine, I would just try on your own computer as well if you can play with the sound there. And thank you all for sharing with the green check mark there. I appreciate that. All right, so with all that in mind, that kind of quick intro, for me personally, I was really looking for a different way to do my lesson plan to organize myself as I integrated more and more digital tools in my classroom and started using the digital space for myself and with my students. And I tried a number of tools, and then I was lucky enough to stumble across OTF Planboard a while back, and it just, like I said, really changed my world and how I look at my lessons and how I organize myself. Before I jump into it, I'm just kind of curious what some other people are doing. So just really quickly in the chat, just a quick summary. Can some people share what it is they do right now? So if you use a paper daybook, that's great, just say paper planner. If you're using, say, a Microsoft Word file or a table and a document, that's great. I'm just kind of curious if people can jump in. Yeah, Staples Teacher Planners, OneNote, yep. I'm just kind of curious, so you can share in there, other people, what it is you're actually using the chat feature, Google Docs, yep. And sorry, June, I'll slow down a little bit. Some people using Planboard already, fantastic. Okay, thank you for those you shared kind of all across the board there, and that's great. Kind of gives me some insight into what I can look at for people today and how to kind of handle things there. All right, so thank you all for sharing there. So for me, this is a perfect marriage of looking at digital tools. I come from a school board that has Google Apps for Education. I think that's pretty common through most school boards in Ontario now. And so I was looking at how do I have all these digital files, and I was trying to organize myself with folders and other things. But I found that didn't translate over to my paper day planner like 6 or 7 years ago. And more recently, I'd say like 4 or 5 years ago, I was looking at using like a Microsoft Word file or Google Doc and just create kind of a table in there, and I'd go and put the dates in myself and then try and organize my lesson plans that way. But didn't really connect with what I was actually using in the classroom. So I was really looking for something to kind of marry those two things together, and Planboard was a fantastic tool for me. So again, very excited to share with all of you tonight. So to start off here, to understand Planboard and OTF Planboard, the first thing you need to know about is chalk.com. Going back 4 or 5 years, Planboard started off as a company. They are free online for teachers. Having an OTF Planboard account kind of gives you a few extra features in there, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But more recently, a few years ago, chalk.com became an umbrella company for Planboard. They have a variety of tools, so Planboard was the first one. That's one we're talking about tonight. They also have another tool called Markboard that integrates with Planboard, and Markboard is for kind of like your digital grade book in a lot of ways. You can manage grades that way. You can have digital rubrics that you can share with students and kind of do your assessments online too. So I won't be talking about Markboard tonight, but if you're interested in something like that, it does sync up and connect with Planboard really well, and you'll need one account for both. But the focus tonight for us is going to be on OTF Planboard, which you can see here as well. So to start off on that, I also want to mention that it is a digital online tool, so you're kind of taking all your stuff into the cloud. But if you use an iPad or an iPhone, there is an app for Planboard you can download for free as well. For those of the Android users out there, they actually have a app out in beta right now. I believe you need an invitation. So if you're an Android user, you can feel free to contact Planboard and ask for an invitation to the beta. That also means that they should be launching it anytime now. So there should be an app coming out for Android as well. Okay, some of you mentioned you already have an account, and I'm not sure if you all do or not, but I would like to give you all just like 30 seconds, 45 seconds here. If you do not have an account, as I said, we have chances to have you go and play with things a little bit today and try them out and come back and ask questions. So if you don't have an account, if you go to the link here, www.planboardapp.com/OTF/ and sign up. If you do have an account, you can go and sign in. One thing I'll highlight too, there's a very small difference between Planboard and OTF Planboard. If you already have a Planboard account, but would like some of the features that come with OTF Planboard that we'll be talking about today, you can just fire a quick message to Planboard as well, and they will switch that over for you automatically, and you won't lose anything. So again, just really quickly, if you don't have an account, you can go to the link here and sign up, and I saw Susan post in the chat there, so you can just click the link. And if you do have an account, if you want to just go and sign in really quickly and come back here, I'll just give you about 30 to 45 seconds to do that, and we'll get back to the presentation. And while we're waiting here and just giving people a chance to go sign in, I'll highlight, I saw someone mentioned earlier that I was talking a little too fast. One, I'm very aware as a teacher when I get excited about things, and I'm very excited here tonight. I can do that a little bit. I also, impression of time, I've done this presentation a number of times, and I really want to make sure everyone gets out of here by 9 or a bit earlier. And there's a lot to share with you, so I'm going to go at a pretty good pace today. But please keep in mind, I've got webcast videos I'm going to share with you that you'll see things in action here. So you can get those links. You can come back and watch those videos anytime you want. And you will get emailed a copy of the presentation with all the screenshots and those videos as well. So if I'm going a little fast for people tonight, please bear with me and know that you'll have a chance to kind of come back and track all this down too. All right, I do want to move on. So if you're still getting signed in, that's fine. Or creating an account, that's totally cool. I'm just going to jump ahead here a little bit and move on though. All right, so the first thing I want to do, because I think we have a number of new users to Planboard today, is go through the setup. If you're going and creating your account for your first time today, so Steve Brown saying it won't let you join. Can you give us a little more details to kind of give us some help with what's happening? and I might pass it up to Susan and kind of continue out the presentation here. Again, no worries. If you can't get into your account right now or create an account right now too, you'll have a chance to just kind of learn today and then go back and play with it a bit later too. Anyways, as I was saying, I want to talk about setup here. When you think about it, every school across Ontario and the world, every school kind of does their schedules differently and runs their schools differently. So it's really kind of complex to think about making a personalized version for every single teacher in every single school. But I think Planboard's done a great job at that. So I want to start off with how to get set up here. As I was mentioning before, if you're just creating your account now, Planboard will probably take you through a bit of basic setup with this. If you've created your account before, I'll kind of show you how to do that with this too. Okay, so first off, looking at creating a semester or year. It'll ask you to do this if you're getting signed in for the first time, or if you've already created your account and you're looking to get here. If you go up in the top left-hand corner, where you can see those 3 horizontal bars and hover over that, you'll see a spot that says semesters, and you'll have a chance to create a new semester there too. So when you're creating your semester or year, you get to name it, depending on what you teach. If it's K-8 or if you're in high school, you might be looking at something that's on a semester or on a full school year. You're going to choose your start date and end dates. You want to do that for the full school year. You won't be able to edit anything before or after your start date or end date, so please keep that in mind. And you also get to check off what days of the week you teach. It automatically defaults Monday through Friday for you, because that's what the case is for most people. But if that's not your case, you can check off which days you want to have access there too as well. After you kind of set up, you create the semester there in those timelines, the next thing it's asking you to do is add in the subjects you teach or the classes you teach. So up in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see a box that says Add Subject. If you click on that, and then click in where it says New Subject, it'll give you the name and the title. You'll also see a bunch of options for color coding there, and if you click on the More button, you'll also see a number of other colors. I recommend using a different color for each class or subject or course you're teaching. Because when you get into Planboard itself, it's got a very nice, visually appealing way of looking at your planner, and those colors tend to make it much easier to follow where your classes are and what you're doing. After you add all your classes in though, the next thing you're going to look to do is kind of click onto the timetable in the right-hand corner there. So again, you want to add in all your subjects here. For getting started today, don't worry about getting everything perfect. You have a chance, you can add 1 or 2 courses in now and kind of play with your timetable, and after the fact, you can come back and adjust anytime you want to. Okay? So you got the subjects there, click the timetable in the top right-hand corner once you've got all the courses you want in, and it'll take you off to the page we're going to go to next. One other thing I'll highlight here, and I'm going to talk about this more later on in this session, is you'll see that little search box that says Search for Standards and Expectations. One thing that I really love about Planboard is that they have all of the Ontario curriculum from K to 12 preloaded in here, and you can add your specific courses or subjects, curriculum expectations to each subject here, and you can actually track what you're covering throughout the semester. It's a really, really cool tool. It's not something you need to do, but it's a great option there if you want to track what you have covered through your lessons throughout the semester. I love using it personally. It's fantastic. I might want to come back and see what I have covered throughout the semester. I can go back and track that very easily, and also like kind of checking at points to see how am I doing with covering the curriculum. Am I getting through it enough? Am I going too slow? Am I going too fast? So really, really cool. We'll talk about that more later on in the session as well too. So once you click on your timetable, you're going to come to a screen that looks like this. You see this little pop-up box here. One thing I want to highlight here is off to the top right-hand corner. The first thing you're going to start with is your rotation schedule. As I mentioned, every school kind of does this differently, and it's different all across Ontario and the world. So the default there is weekly rotation, but you can go from anywhere from weekly to 2 weeks, or from like 1 day up to 14 days, I believe, in there. You're going to want to make sure you get that right. And one thing I'll highlight too is think about if you're on a 5-day versus a weekly rotation. If you select weekly, that's looking at a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Whereas you're on a 5-day, obviously if you finished off, say Friday was a day 4, you're going to come back on Monday with a day 5. So please keep that in mind. And then up in this box here in the middle, you're going to select the subject you want to insert, and you put the time of day that you have it at that times, and then you're going to check off the days of the week that you have it in that time slot. So if your class changes time slots day to day, you're going to want to insert that twice, like once at say 9:30 to 10:30, and then later also if you have it say from 1 to 2 in the afternoon, something like that. So you insert them those ways. You can also personalize as you get through that section as well and play around with that. The other thing I'll highlight, once you add your subjects or courses in, you've got your schedule looking the way you want. I also suggest you add in the holidays and off days like PD days. So towards that top right again, there's a spot to click on semester settings. If you click on the Add Holidays, it will actually, you can select Canada as your country, and it will default in the holidays for you. If you add an off day, you can set your own personal off days as well. So if they miss, March break is different in different places around the world, so you can insert March break. Another example would be the PDAs you have throughout the semester. I highly recommend you put in the off days because when you're doing your planning, it blocks off that day for you, doesn't let you insert things in, and there's great personalization way to adjust your lessons throughout the semester, and it will skip those days for you too, which is a really nice feature. Okay, this is going to be the kind of first break we take here. So I just kind of walked you through some screenshots there for what it looks like to set up your semester, but I wanted you to see it in action as well. So we're going to take a break here and have you watch, I think it's about a 6 or 7 minute video where I will walk you through all this and you can watch that in person there. So usually when we run these, the video won't play in the actual presentation space here, and it's a bit of a bandwidth hog. So what Susan has done, if you look over in the chat feature, there's a link to a YouTube video. We're going to ask you to each click on that link, leave the presentation here, and go and watch that video on your own. And when you're done watching the video, if you could come back and click the green check mark, we'll have some time for you to go and try this out yourself after seeing the action, and then ask any questions you have as well. But for when you get back from the video from watching it, please give us a green check mark so I can track who's back and who's not. All right, now it's time to go off and watch that video, so you can click the link off in the chat feature there. Enjoy. Okay, it looks like I'm getting a green check mark from most people to say that they have watched the video now, but they're back. If you haven't quite finished yet, feel free to kind of keep watching the video there, but I'm going to continue on talking here and kind of continue on with the session. So next up, having me kind of walk through and show you some screenshots, and then also walking through the video there. I want to give people maybe just about 5 minutes to go out and try this themselves. So again, if you're able to get into your Planboard account or just created one, feel free to go and play. A reminder too, like most things online today, you can't break anything. Feel free to just play around and try it. You're not going to have time to do your entire setup here in 5 minutes for most of you, I would think, but you can get it started. You can come back and make any changes you want. You can add courses in later after the fact. You can change and edit your timetable after the fact. And as Maria noted, and thank you very much for catching it, you can also change your start dates and end dates for your semesters if you go into the timetable and click on semester settings. So I'm going to ask Susan to put up a timer here for 5 minutes and give each of you a chance to go and log into your accounts and play around with it. And then I'm also here to answer any questions you have. So in this space, feel free to jump on the mic if you have one and ask a question, or raise a hand, or post any questions you have in the chat feature. So for the next 5 minutes or so here, please feel free to go and play and ask any questions you have. Thanks. You still got another minute here to ask any questions you have. I'm just going to jump on the mic to answer some now too. I kind of want to give you guys some time there to kind of look and play yourselves, but I'll jump on here too. I'm just going to read through some questions here. Yeah, I saw Dana kind of hide the templates there. We'll talk about in a sec. A few people have asked about split classes. So you can create a default template, which we'll talk about a bit later in Planboard, and that's basically like a template that would start your lesson plans off, a format for you to follow. But if you teach a split class, when you create a class, let's say you're teaching grade 3-4 split, and you want to cover down math for an hour on Tuesday. You're going to be covering math with both the 3s and 4s, but the curriculum is going to be different. I personally would create the math class as one class or one course, add that into your timetable. And when you created that split section, I would add the curriculum both. You can add the curriculum for grade 3 and grade 4. And then when you clicked on math, I would just have two kind of split sections in your planner there to say this is what I'm covering with the grade 3s, and then this is what I'm covering with the grade 4s. There's not really a right or wrong way. It's really what works best for you, but that's personally I would go and what I've seen other teachers do in that space. And so, Steve Brown, I see your question there about your one section geography at 11 on day 2, but at 1 on day 4. So you just insert it twice. So you go in when you're inserting your class, you click day 2 and put it, say, from 11 till noon, and then click on insert, and then you come back and add a class again, and then click on geography again, switch over to day 4, and put it in at 1 to 2, for example. Does that make sense? I'll let you respond back and check there, but hopefully that makes sense. So we can kind of jump ahead here. Our time went off. Any final questions for anyone? Again, if you have a mic, feel free to jump on the mic or post in the chat. And if we don't, I'll get moving on to the next section. No, Grizz, I'm glad that makes sense for you. Yeah, it's just they want you to insert one at a time for specific times on days, and you can switch to a new time. So you're good that way. Perfect. I'm glad you got it. Okay, I'm not seeing any question from anyone else, so I'm going to jump ahead. Yeah, Janet, one thing Planboard does, if you don't have your lessons planned for the next day, you'll get a reminder kind of the night or day before, kind of saying, hey, just in case you forgot, you got to plan for tomorrow. You can turn those off if you like. Okay, next up, I had someone ask in the chat a bit earlier about like why use Planboard, and that's going to get into here with the basic functionality. Derek, sorry, I just got to ask you one more question. If I need to change your schedule for one day, is it possible to switch for just one day? You can add in individual days. So if you have a funky day, like say you have an assembly schedule at your school, you can add that in once you've created your planner. So you have your regular schedule in there and you have it. Quincy, I'm saying prep teachers have different classes for A and B days. How would you do that? So I would do it on a 2-day schedule, have it like a day 1, day 2, or your A and B, and do the schedule that way. One thing you can do too is you can also reset your schedule in Planboard any time. So I know for myself, I have to do that every now and then. I'm on a 2-day rotation too, and we follow the days of the week. So day 1 is odd days and day 2 is even days. But for some months, we'll go from the 31st to the 1st, and so I've got 2 day 1s in a row. But you kind of plan on having a day 2. There's a quick button I can show you guys later just to reset that. I can refresh it to day 1 as well too. Okay, I'm going to hold off on questions in that space now too because I want to get through everything, but I will stick around at the end as well and answer any questions people have then too. So second section I want to talk about is the basic functionality. So now if you have the basics of how to go and set up Planboard and get your kind of schedule and rotation going, the next question is how to use it, why would you want to use it? So I love this space. I kind of blew my mind with some of the features they have too, so I'm looking forward to sharing this with all of you. So the first thing, once you've got your rotation set up and you jump in here, there's a variety of different ways to look at your schedule. This is a week view here, but again, you can see a whole bunch of things. So at the top middle there, you'll see the kind of dates. By clicking on the little calendar icon, you can jump to any dates. You can see a whole calendar for the month pop up. You can toggle between months or days and jump to a date very quickly. Towards the right-hand corner there, you can see the week box is highlighted. That's the view I'm in here. You can jump into a day view, a week view, a month view, or a unit view. And to the far right there, you get a few other options. You can print off any of your lesson plans, either on a daily view or in a weekly view. You can get a PDF file of your lesson plans for the day or for the week. You can email out to other people. I love that feature. And a great example for when that might pop up. You have, say, you've got young children, and they're really sick first thing in the morning right before you're heading to work, and you find yourself all of a sudden have to stay home with them. Instead of like freaking out about how to get your lesson plans in, You pop into Planboard, you click on email it to your department head or VP or secretary at your school, and you're done. They've got your lesson plans for the day. They can print them out. If you have to know who's covering your class, a supply teacher, click email, send your lessons in, you're covered for the day. It's a really great way to do that. There's also a lot of other ways to share your lessons with teachers and other people and parents or students. We'll talk about that a bit more later too. And to start any planning, you can just click into your plan anywhere you want. I see DM McCaffrey there asking about, do they need Planboard? No, no one needs to have a Planboard account to see your plans. You can share with other teachers in Planboard, and we'll talk about that later. So if someone creates a lot, I'm doing some co-teaching right now with another teacher between our two classes, and we kind of trade off days and who's doing the lesson planning. We talk about it to each other, but who actually builds it in Planboard, we do that and kind of share back and forth as well. I share with my students the lesson plans. I post them to my website in Google Classroom. They don't need a Planboard account to see them. It's fantastic. Yes, and if you're emailing Janet, thanks for mentioning that. It does go as a PDF to people. The other thing you can do is get a unique link, which I'll talk about later as well too. So I mentioned the 4 views there. So that was a week view before. This is the day view. If I was going to scroll up or down on this, I would start off in my first period for the day. I could see the times up in the top left-hand corner there. And I'd scroll down. I could see each of my lessons just for that day. The yellow little box off to the right there is meant to be like a sticky note. It's your digital sticky note. You can write any notes to yourself there that you want to remind yourself things or things to cover down. I often kind of fill it out after a lesson for things that I thought went well or things I want to change for the next time. But that's the basics of the week view there. If I jump in, sorry, the day view rather, if I jump into the week view here, this is my week view here I've got going right now. So you can see my first 2 subjects for the day. I get a kind of quick, I can't see my entire lesson plan, but I get a quick look at what I'm doing for the day. I can see the title, what unit I'm in, and the start of that class. Because I share all my lessons with parents and students on my website, I like to put a little image in at the start of them, just to kind of give them a little kind of quick view of what's going on for that day. Next up in here is also the monthly view. In the monthly view, all you see for your sections or your courses is the title of the lesson. So it's a kind of a quick overview of what you've got going on for that month without looking at the individual details of your lesson plans. And lastly here, we also have the unit view. This would be for a specific subject, and you can scroll through the entire semester to look at every single lesson plan organized by units. You can see the color coding off to the left. So I've got my unit 1 as that blue color. My unit 2 is a green color here. I can see there are 95 lessons I've got set up for the semester and what subject I'm in. And if I click on any lesson here, I can see the lesson plan off to the right. Just doing a sound check again.
It sounded, everybody had little alert symbols beside your name, Andrew, and so that's often an issue with bandwidth from the Blackboard end of things, and yeah, you sounded a bit chipmunky. It was a little different than the usual, Andrew. Okay. It's better now, though.
Sure. Okay. I'm glad I'm back, and sorry for sounding like a chipmunk there. Okay, I hope I still made sense to people. Okay, anyway, so in the unit view here, you can click on any lesson. You can also click and drag very easily, so it's a great way to readjust by a single course and look at your lesson plans and move things around as well, too. It's kind of a drag and drop step up here. Excuse me. So that's the unit view. So those are the 4 views really you get in Planboard, the day view, week view, month view, or unit view. I personally spend a lot of time in the week view, but it's really a personal preference kind of thing. Excuse me. The other thing you should know, up in the top left-hand corner there, you'll see 3 vertical bars, and that's where you can kind of find a whole bunch of options within Planboard. So if you have anything to do with your planner, like looking at your semester again, if you want to create a new semester or edit to your semester, you can go find it there. If you need to change your timetable, you can find it in that space. We'll talk about how to cover and track curriculum expectations. This is a space you can go to find and see what you've covered throughout the semester for each of your classes. Someone mentioned templates earlier. Excuse me. With templates, you can actually create your own default templates. So, for example, if something you want to start off with your lesson plans every day, a template you like to follow. So it might be you have the learning goals and success criteria started off. You might want to highlight what resources you're using and some other things in there as well. You can create a default template that actually shows up for every single subject, or you can import them anytime you want. So that's another space you can do that. The basic settings for yourself are found here. And lastly, the resources section, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this presentation, you can find that there as well. Excuse me. I mentioned the standards and expectations tracking. I'll show you how to shortly to add those into a specific lesson plan and track those. If you click on the tracking feature for it, you'll come to a screen that looks like this. You'll see the classes you're teaching. And you can see like that little green bar going across. I can see, for example, for my 2D English class there are 85 specific expectations, and I took the screenshot right at the start of the semester, so I'd covered off 6 of them so far. If you click on that box, and I'll talk about this more a bit later on in the presentation, you can see which specific ones you have, which ones you haven't too. So that's a really cool feature that Planboard has built in as well. All right, function actually building your lesson plans now though. So this is like the nitty gritty. This is why I personally really love Planboard. So when you click into a specific lesson, you get a dialog box that pops up that looks like this. This is where you can actually build your lessons out. There are a whole lot of fantastic features here. And I would say personally, like some of you were using paper daybooks or using Microsoft Word or Google Docs. I think this kind of blows it out of the water personally. And I mean, that was personally my experience at least. Now, when you open it up, it's going to look very similar to using a word editor like you've been used to before, Microsoft Word or Google Docs. So you've got options for things like bold, italics, and underlines. You can do a numbered list or a bolded list. But what I think that's getting more interesting here in building out your lesson plans and talking about us being this digital space now as teachers and kind of tracking how we use all these digital tools in our classrooms and how we organize ourselves with that, is because Planboard is web-based. It really plays very nicely with all the things we're doing on the web. I know for myself, like I said, I'm a Google Apps for Education board. I use a lot of Google Docs with my students or things from my Google Drive. I share a lot of websites with my students, or I want to pull them up in class, or videos I found online, or images. And Planboard is a great way to incorporate all those things into your lesson plan or your daybook. So up across the toolbar on there, you can also insert any images. You can upload them from your computer, or you can find share links from off the web. You can insert and embed videos right into your lesson plan. So me personally, I have a data projector in my classroom. I start off my lessons by pulling up my Planboard lesson plan and showing it on the data projector. And so if I want to share a video with the class, I click play right from my lesson plan. It plays there for the students. I can insert tables here. I found we're doing so many things on the web now. I used to have like lesson plans, like before I would go and have like 6 or 7 tabs open of different things I wanted to share with my students in class. Now on Planboard, I just link those in my lesson plans. I don't have to worry about that kind of tab hell we can get to anymore. I just have the link there in my lesson plan, click it, and that tab opens up for me, and I can share that website or that whatever it is I found on the web then with my students there as well too. And that's the note keeping. So off to the right there, you got that yellow notepad for yourself. If you're looking to add curriculum expectations, down where it says add standards, if you click on that and you've added the curriculum to that specific course when you did your setup, you'll see the curriculum pop up for that course, all these specific expectations, and you can choose which ones you want to add. Another fantastic feature is if you click on upload file, you can upload any file from your computer. And a fantastic thing about OTF Planboard is it has unlimited cloud storage for you. So literally anything you want to upload to this lesson plan and tie to that specific lesson plan, it can be a Word file, a PDF, a PowerPoint, images, videos, whatever you like, it's tied right to that lesson plan and stays with that lesson plan for you. So you're not going through folders on your computer trying to find what you want at that specific moment. It's there for you tied to that lesson plan. The other thing off to the right there too, you'll see a little Google Drive icon. And being a Google Apps for Education board, someone who uses it, I love this feature. If you click on the icon, it's going to ask you the very first time to sign in to your Google Apps account. It's only a one-time thing. Planboard will remember for you after the fact. They'll ask for some permissions like to see and access the files in your drive. If you read through that and you're okay with all of it and click OK, once you click the Drive icon, you can see anything that's stored in your Google Drive right from Planboard, and you can click on any file from your drive and add a unique link right into your lesson plans from the Google Drive there as well. So I think that's a really, really fantastic feature, and it's a huge time saver and organizer for me for my lesson plan as well. And then the last box at the bottom there is says choose templates. Like I said, in the settings area there, you can create templates for your lesson plans and something specific you'd like to follow for a specific course or subject. You can create that template once and then just upload that template to your lesson plan. So you have kind of a default of where you start off with your lesson planner. So again, that might be headings like learning goals, success criteria, resources, major things along those lines. So that's the very basics of the editor there. Diana, yeah, do you have a question? Please, if you have a mic, feel free to jump on. Yep.
Yes, Andrew. If you share your lesson plan with somebody, let's say another colleague, is it possible, like whatever you attach to the lesson plan, is that sent as well with the file? For example, if it's a PDF.
Yes, it would. It would like
the Word file.
Yes. Yeah, the Word files would go along with it as well.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. Okay, so let's slide on from the basic kind of setup here. The other thing up in the top right-hand corner of the lesson planner, it gives you options. And this is the other thing for the people asking, like, well, why Planboard? Like, why, again, personally, I think just for that screen before, like kind of adding in links, embedding videos in your lesson plan. attaching Google Drive files, uploading files that are stored there to it. I think that's a great feature, but this one, the lesson options here are really, really cool as well. So as you can see there, one of the first options you get is to copy a lesson. So if you've got a duplicate class, you can just copy that lesson, add to somewhere else. It's very simple to move your lessons around. So you can click move and move it anywhere you like in your planner. You can also shift forward or backward a day. You can move an entire day or just a specific lesson. Reason that would pop up, I know for myself, I used to be on a Microsoft Word file for a long time in a Google Docs file. I would create a table, I would go and put all the dates in, and I'd go put my lesson plans in each little box. And then say in the winter I had a snow day. And again, nothing against snow days, I enjoy the day off. But that day off usually would start for me about half an hour to 45 minutes of me copy and pasting every single lesson plan and moving ahead a day. In Planboard, it's now 2 clicks for me. I click options, click shift forward a day, and then it moves all my lesson plans that are planned for the semester up 1 day in the schedule. It skips the holidays I've added in, it skips the PD days, and everything's just in its right place right away. I absolutely love that feature. You can do it as a full day. You can also just do it on an individual lesson. Say you're having a fantastic conversation in class, and you want to let that run long, but then you don't get to everything you wanted to cover in that lesson for that day. You can just shift that one course forward a day. It moves like everything else forward a day for just say what your math curriculum you're covering that day, but it doesn't change the science you're going to cover on later in the day as well. So I love that. That's another fantastic feature in there. If it's really customizable, really easily adjustable, just simple clicks. Again, if you're using a paper day planner and you had like 3 or 4 weeks planned out ahead, you probably train that in pencil because, again, if something doesn't go the way you want it to, you're doing a lot of erasing. With Planboard, it's a simple click, you change it. There's also options for exporting down there or sharing. If you click on export or print, you get a PDF file. You can print that off or you can email that to somebody. If you click on the share button, you'll see a variety of options to share. You can share just by typing in someone's email address or multiple people's email addresses. You can get a unique link to your lesson plan, which I'll talk about here in a little sec. So that unique link is a link you could post anywhere. If you have a classroom website, you want to email it to somebody, share it with students, post in Google Classroom, that's a unique link. They don't need to have a Planboard account. People can click on that link, and it will take them to a different version of that lesson plan. It looks very similar to what you get, but a little different as well, which I'll show you here in a little bit. I love that feature. I personally have a classroom website. I post all my lesson plans there. Students can see that as specific lesson plans. So if they're away for a day, I've had kids like jump in and actually join online discussions even though they're at home sick because they had access to lesson plan or if they're traveling. It's also great for parents as well too. They just go to your website, they can see everything you're covering in class, they can watch the videos you watch in class, they can see the handouts you have and things like that as well too. And Roxanne, can they change the plan or just view it? It is only as they view. It's not editable for anyone else when you get the unique link. It's just something that they can view. It's actually a different page. I'll show you what it looks like in a little bit here. You also have the option through resources to import. If you have, everything I'm talking about here is completely free. I want to highlight that for everybody, except for the very last thing we're going to talk about at the very end, which is called resources. Chalk.com and OTF Planboard have made it committed to always being free for teachers, and everything I'm covering down here is free, except the very last thing. If you have a school or department or a few people who sign up for resources, what it does, it allows you to share lessons to a group. So say you're the grade 4 teachers in your school, wanted to create a group and share all their lesson plans, you can build in there, share it to that group, and then someone else can just click import and add a lesson that someone else is creating the plan right away. So it's a really great sharing feature there too. All right, so people have asked about sharing. So if you click that share button, this is the little pop-up box you get. You have a few options here. If you click into the sharing with emails, you start typing someone's name or email address in there. You can click and send it off to them. You're done. They will get a unique link to that lesson. Again, it's not editable for other people, and it's a different screen than what you would see in your Planboard, but like the content looks exactly the same. The links are there, and any files you add are there too. I'll show you what that looks like on the next screen. You can also add tags to kind of track what you're covering down yourself. So there's the email option there, but if you click on the get link or get embed code, it pops up a new box for you. What that does, it creates a unique link to every single lesson that you create that you can share with anybody. Again, they don't need to have a Planboard account. You can post it to a website or anywhere you like. I'm just going to pause here for a sec too because I'm feeling, yep, chipmunk, I can see all the mics there. So I'm just going to slow down here for a second and hopefully wait for those yellow mics to go away. I feel like Alvin, like I should be singing the Christmas song, but it's a little early for that still. Christmas, Christmas time is here. Do I sound like Alvin? Okay, the yellow mics disappeared. Do I sound normal again? Okay, I'm glad it's actually normal. I also hope you're laughing hysterically at me for sounding like a chipmunk. Sorry, going back to MB's question, do we add preps to our subjects in duty times? That's a great question. Sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. If you want to have some notes in here, you want to see your duty times, your lunch duties, or your prep periods, basically what you do is add those in as a subject. So you just go back into the timetable, click on add subject, you can call it prep or lunch duty, and then insert that to your schedule as well. So some people like to have those in, some people leave it blank. That's really up to you. Yeah, no, thanks. Thank you for asking, MBA. Appreciate that. Anyway, in here for the sharing option, if you click on get link or get embed code, what it will do will give you a unique link to that specific lesson that you can share with anyone. If they click on it, they can see that lesson plan. They can't edit it. The embed code, if you're familiar with it, if you run a classroom website, you can actually get a unique embed code to put into your website. And what that does, instead of being just a link, someone can actually see the full lesson plan embedded on your website. So it'd be like a space or a box on your website where they can see the lesson plan actually there. It's another nice feature too if you want. And that's, again, each to unique individual lesson plan. To highlight down here, so we saw what the editor looks like in Planboard. If you share unique links, so if I took this lesson, a link for this lesson plan here, and I shared it with a parent, with my students, and they clicked on it, this is what they would see. So they can see the top off there. I had a video embedded here for students to watch in my class, for parents. You can see the hyperlinks in there for my course outline or a link to Google Classroom. And I also attached it to a few files off to the side there too, so you can see to the right side it says attach files, and there's my course outline, the student info sheet I want my students to follow along too. So I share that as a unique link with a parent, another teacher, or students in my classroom. This is what they get. Michaela, no, an embed code wouldn't work in Google Classroom. I don't think it plays nice with embed codes, but if you just use a unique link and post that in Classroom and students click the link from there, then they would see your lesson plan as well. I've done that as well. It's a nice route to go as well. Okay, so that's what if you share a lesson plan through a unique link, that's what it's going to look like to people. They get the attachments, they get all the content, the embedded video, whatever you have there. So it's a really, really nice feature. And I mentioned the Google Drive access, so I want to drive us home what that looks like a little bit, because I know a lot of school boards are using Google Apps for Education now. Again, instead of having a whole bunch of folders and organize itself that way, I just add my specific, either their worksheets or handouts or whatever else I'm creating from Drive, sharing videos or photos. I can add those to each unique lesson plan here. Before, I had like a Word file, so I was like looking at what I was supposed to do in Word and then going to my Google Drive, clicking through a bunch of folders and trying to find the right file. Now I'm adding the exact files I want right to my lesson plan, right from in Planboard, right from Google Drive. So I think it's a really fantastic tool if you're using Google Drive as well. So if you click the Drive icon, you get the search box that pops up. Again, the first time you do this, if you're using Google Drive, it's going to ask you to sign into your Drive account and give it permissions to access your files. But if you do that once, you're just going to see this pop-up box. It'll show you the lessons you've worked on most recently, and you can attach any files you want from your Drive here to your lesson plan. Just to clarify, because Drive's all web-based as well too, along with Planboard, it's not downloading the file to your Planboard account, but instead it's like a tab, making a unique link that looks like it's a file there, but if you click it, it just opens up a new tab and goes into that file. The other thing I'll highlight for people to remember here too, if you're just using Planboard for yourself and not sharing with others, you're good to go. But if you are looking to share this with students or parents, you're going to want to change the sharing permissions on that Google Doc or Google file, whatever it is, to a can view or a can comment or a can edit, whatever you'd like it to be. So once you search it out, you can also filter and look for different files this way too, so you can organize by what type of file you're looking for if you're trying to find something quickly. And lastly, once you add something in, you'll see this little file that's added to the bottom of your lesson plan there with a unique link, and it pulls the title right out so you know what file you're opening up into. So you get that automatic link right there. Okay, that was a lot of the stuff for functionality. I threw a lot at you there, but again, I want to give you all a chance to kind of go and play with this. But before we get there, I want to show it to you in action here. So I made another screencast video for you here too. I think this one's about another 6 or 7 minutes about again. So if you want to click the link off in the chat feature, you can leave here. I'll jump off the mic for a little bit. And a quick reminder, once you've finished watching the video, you'll have a chance to come back and play and try it out yourself and ask some questions. But when you're done the video, if you give that green check mark, so I know I can jump back on the mic again. So go watch the video. Okay, it looks like most people are back now from having watched the video. If you're still watching, that's fine. Feel free to go ahead. I'm going to move on here, though. Now that I've had a chance to kind of look and see in action what it's actually like to build a lesson plan, I'm going to give people just a few minutes here. I am conscious of the time. I've got a few things to go through. So I don't want to take too much time here. And again, I'm happy to stick around for questions after the fact. But Susan, if you're going to throw up like 2 minutes here right now, you get people to go in, click into Planboard, and try just some basics of building lesson plan here. Again, you can delete anything else, so feel free to just play. We'll just take a couple minutes here to give people a chance to do that. And please feel free to ask any questions in the chat or drop on the mic too and ask any questions you have. And then I'll get going to the last few pieces of the session for today. And while you guys are doing that, Janet asked about Markboard. One thing is where you like to do is click up in the top left-hand corner of Planboard. You'll see an option for Markboard there. Once you've created a Planboard account, you automatically have a Markboard account. You don't need to use it if you want, but again, Markboard is a different tool tied to Planboard where you can essentially use it as a grade book and also a way to track digitally your rubrics and assessments for students as well. And again, we're going to look quickly here, but we're just got about 45 seconds on the timer. So again, if anyone has any questions about how to build a lesson plan or adding content in, please feel free to ask or sharing there. And if not, we're going to move ahead for the rest of the presentation here in a few seconds. Last chance for timer kicks down here. Anyone have any questions about lesson planning? All right, timer's up there. I'm not seeing anyone jumping on the mic or in the chat here, so I'm going to continue on and make sure we get all of you out here on time. Next up then, I want to talk about the curriculum expectations. I've talked about this a bit already. When you added your course or subject in, you had the option to tag the Ontario curriculum to that. When you're doing that, I strongly recommend, I mentioned this in the video, you start off by typing in Ontario first, and then maybe the grade, and then the subject you're looking for. The only reason I mentioned that is that there's a ton of stuff in there. Planboard has all of Canada's curriculum in there and a lot of curriculum from the States as well. So anyways, once you've added that into a course though, when you go into your lesson planner, you'll see a spot down at the bottom that says Add Standards, and if you click on that and you've tied the curriculum to that course, you'll see all these specific curriculum expectations pop up there. Once you add some in, you'll actually see the numbers on your lesson plan. So you can see the example here, it says A1, A2, A3 has been tagged off. If you hover over those, once you've added them, you can actually see the full detail of that expectation as well too. So to kind of highlight what that looks here, once you click on Add, you'll see a whole list here. You can scroll up or down and see like all, again, for my 2D English class, there's 85 specific expectations. I can see them all listed there. If I want to add one, I click on the Add button, and to see what's added, I can see where it says Added there too. If you want to remove some you've added, you can change up your lesson plan. You can see the little X beside the A1, A2, A3 there. You just click that X and remove it as well too. And then from a tracking standpoint, I highlighted this screen earlier, but if you click on those 3 little horizontal bars in the top left-hand corner, and then click on to standards coverage, you'll come to a screen that looks like this. You'll be able to see all the subject or courses you're teaching. And then as you keep on tagging off curriculum per semester, you'll see that kind of green bar kind of grow and see how many you've covered. And if you click on that green bar, you can actually see the specific ones you have covered and the ones you haven't. So if you do that, you get a screen that looks like this, and you can see the green shows which ones you have covered, and the gray shows which ones you haven't covered throughout the semester. Again, this is not something that you need to do in OTF Planboard, but it's an option there for you if you want to cover down the specific expectations and see what you have covered and haven't. It's a feature I really like myself too. The next thing I want to highlight specifically was the unit planner. So we spent a fair bit of time looking at the day and week view, and that's kind of where you're going to do most of your editing and building of lesson plans. You can get the monthly view to kind of get a very quick oversight of the titles and what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. but the unit plan is also a very nice feature. So to get there, again, actually not top right hand corner, you can click on Unit, and it will take you to a screen that looks like this. And depending on how you have your schedule set up, you'll see every single day you have a class for that specific subject, and you can build it through here. It's a really quick, easy way to look at the course as a whole. You can click and drag and move lesson plans around. You can edit them from in here as well too. You can tag off by what unit you're looking at as well. You can actually import and share entire lessons to or entire units with people as well too. So really kind of cool feature looking through it here from the unit point of view. And I'm kind of moving through things very quickly because I want to get you all through our own time. But once you get the hang of this, it will be easy to add things. Yeah, absolutely, Melissa. It takes some time to get a feel for it right off the bat, but once you get in, it gets really, really easy. I fly through it now myself. So one thing I want to highlight too, and one of the really cool, unique features of OTF Planboard specifically, as opposed to just a regular Planboard account, is the access to OTF lessons. The Ontario Teachers Federation has built hundreds of full detailed lesson plans. They're organized and categorized by subject area and by grade. And with the click of a button, you can import these detailed created lesson plans that have been curated for you right into your Planboard account and have the resources there. A lot of them come with handouts ready to go, examples or rubrics, success criteria. It is a really, really good setup. So to kind of highlight this for all of you, to get there, if you have an OTF Planboard account, on the bar across the top, you're going to see the symbol for the Ontario Teachers Federation there. It says OTF. If you click on that, it should take you to the next screen, or it might pop you, depending on how you're set up, it might pop you back into your chalk.com page, and off to the right, you'll see a box that says Ontario Teachers Federation Lessons. If you click on that, it will take you right to a screen that looks like this. So here, you want to the Ontario Teachers Federation page through Planboard, and the little boxes there kind of highlight specific subject areas. You can also browse by category or even by specific tags. So if you're covering down astronomy, for example, you can type in astronomy and see what lessons are tied to astronomy and what grades they've been built for. You can filter by the subject area you teach as well. And once you do that, so for example, I clicked on science here. And yes, there are elementary lessons. There's lessons all the way through K through 12. So I just clicked on science here, and I can see some examples of some secondary lessons here. So I can scroll through and see by grade, subject area, what's being covered. And if I click on the free button there, what that pops up, I can look at to preview the lesson plan if I want, and then I can choose to import it right into Planboard. So you can kind of scroll through this, look for a lesson plan, and actually import that right into Planboard. So if I click on that free button, it's going to ask me for what semester I want to add it to. I'm going to select the course, and then I can see the lesson up in the top left here, that blue button. And all I have to do is click and drag that down onto a date in my calendar, and all of that content from that lesson that's been curated for you and created by some people at the Ontario Teachers Federation will be imported right into your lesson planner. Okay, this is the last video I'm going to be sharing with you today, and I've got one other thing to show with you after this, but it is the shortest video as well. So if you want to go up to the link in the chat feature there, click on the YouTube video. I think it's only a few minutes long, and this will show you exactly what it's like to import a lesson plan from the Ontario Teachers Federation right into your Planboard account for you to use and share. All right, I'll jump off the mic again, and again, when everyone's back, if you give me that green check mark, I've got one final thing to share with you, and we'll get you all here before 9 o'clock. Okay, it looks like most people are making it back from having watched the video now. I do want to work to get you at a time. If you're just finishing up, please feel free to kind of go ahead. I hope that made sense. You can see different ways to insert lessons from OTF there and search them out. Just to answer a few questions here too. Derek, I'm glad that made sense. Believe it or not, guys, like this is an hour-and-a-half session, but I actually can't cover down all the features in Planboard. There's so many great things for personalization. So you look in the chat there, you can see for a way too, if you have a special unique day that goes outside of your regular rotation, you can actually see the instructions there for how to create a unique day right within Planboard. That's just a one-off there that won't kind of follow ahead with you. I also want to answer April's question from earlier. Sorry I haven't touched on this. This is a really, really amazing feature. Once you've used Planboard for, say, a year, if you're coming back and teaching a similar subject or you have the exact same schedule again, you can go and create a new semester and then like putting your start dates and end dates, say for 2016, 2017 next year in September. If you're, say, teaching grade 4, core grade 4 again, the same thing you taught this year, you can actually import all of your lesson plans from the previous year in. It's just when you create your semester, there's a button that says migrate sections, or you can migrate a semester in, and you can actually bring all of your lesson plans from the previous year and import them into a new year with a click of a button. Yeah, April, it is absolutely amazing. So if you're worried about spending all this time on a single lesson plan or if you're kind of planning out and doing the curriculum expectations, once you do it once, if you've got the same course next year, you just click a button and everything comes over for you. And the great thing is too, is you can go and edit the after the fact. So some lessons you want to change, you can delete those out, add new ones in. But if you have the kind of core main lessons you want there, you import them in. So yeah, it's saved me literally dozens of hours of time for sure. It's a great, great feature. And Tasha, just reading your question here, says, have you had issues with parents or students with you posting on your posting lesson plans, like critiquing them or planning? That's a great question. No, I have never experienced that issue yet, at least not to my knowledge. Again, that's something that's an individual teacher's choice whether they want to share or not. I know a number of teachers just use Planboard for themselves and don't share. I personally share all my lessons online. I kind of feel like being an open source teacher. I throw it there for my students. I post them to my website. Other teachers find them, but it's really a personal preference. But no, I've not experienced anyone kind of complaining about that. I've only ever had positive feedback about it. I have a lot of parents and students who really appreciate that. Again, that's how I start my lesson plans. I throw it up there on the data projector in my class. I share it with the class there, and I post a website for students who can come back to after the fact, or if they're away, if they're traveling, if parents want them, they can have them access that way too. All right, we're going to move on here. I'm going to skip the try and cite yourself now. You can kind of come back to that later. The very last thing I want to mention tonight is resources. Everything up to this point I've mentioned is completely free, and Planboard and OTF have committed to that. Those always being free for teachers. You don't need to worry about it ever becoming a paid thing. It's staying free. They have made that promise. But they are also a company that needs to make some money. So one thing they do, they sell some higher end features. So with resources here, if you click on those three little vertical lines up in the top left-hand corner in Planboard, at the very bottom it's going to say there's a resources option. So I'm going to talk about here for just the last minute or two. So if you go into resources, you're going to see something like this. Again, resources is not a free feature, it's a paid feature. Something you can explore if you want. You can do it yourself or a couple people, or you can purchase as a school, or you can purchase as a department. You can see here I got my school set up in here and also my English department. I also have a section for another teacher in here right now because we're doing some team teaching together for a grade 10 English class. Basically how resources work, you can choose to share any lesson you want either to your school or to a department or to a grade or a group of teachers that you create. And once one teacher shares, you'll have access to it. So once the teacher shares something, I get a whole list of those lesson plans in here. I can click on one and seem to add it right into my planner myself. So another teacher creates it, I click on like, share it with them, or I can click to add it to my own planner, and then I can edit it after the fact too. So I just want to highlight because I know a lot of people are looking for these features as well. But again, the other ways you can do this is you can just share a unique link to your lesson plan or embed it on your website as well too. But if you're looking to collaborate with teachers or within your school, resources is a really nice little feature that they have going too. So it's the only thing I've mentioned tonight that's not free. Everything else is completely free. So I just want to highlight that for people. I'm not going to spend any extra time on it. All right. That brings my part of the presentation to a close. I want to say thank you so much to everybody for joining us tonight. I hope you found it helpful being here. Again, you have the YouTube links out of the chat there, and you will be getting an email with a recording of the sessions when I go back and look at anything. The other thing I'll highlight, I'm always happy to answer questions or work with other teachers who are interested in this stuff. So please feel free to reach out to me after the fact if you've got questions. I'm very happy to connect with teachers on Twitter or Google, or kind of email me, however you want to get a hold of me. Thank you all for joining, give your time tonight. I'm going to pass this over to Susan before anyone runs off. There are a few things I think she's going to want to take you through too. So thank you all for joining.
That was a great session, Andrew. Thank you very much. You clearly, well, you said you've been using it for 4 years, and I've heard a lot about Planboard, but it came in when I was out of a classroom and have not had the opportunity to use it, nor have I had the opportunity to hear you present on it. So that was a great experience to learn some of the ins and outs of how Planboard works. It's a great tool, and you did an awesome job of giving us an overview. You know, as you said, an hour and a half is not long to look at all of the amazing features, but I think everyone's had a taste. The chat is full of positivity and excitement about going and using this. So thank you so much, Andrew. We really appreciate that tonight. Great way to kick off the season. Now, for all of you who are still here in the room, normally what happens as soon as you close this window or log out of Blackboard Collaborate, you will get an automatic link to a feedback survey. And OTF really values the information that comes back to them. It's a quick survey to do, but they use it to drive their future planning. They also use the results of the feedback surveys to help drive some of the funding from the ministry. So we hope that you will honor that and not just say, it's another feedback survey. Please do it. It won't take long, and it really does help out. Now, normally that link comes to you as soon as you log out. Apparently, there's been an update to the software that has happened today, and there's some wrinkle in the automation of that link coming. So it's going to get emailed to you tomorrow instead of automatically coming when you log out of the room. So be patient. It will show up. As Andrew mentioned, the other thing that happens is that all this session is recorded, and I'm actually going to stop the recording now because I'm famous for letting it go on until 10 o'clock. So I'll say thank you once again and good night.